Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are back with another community replay. This one was sent in by none other than Toxic Carrot. Or at least that's what I'm going with. Is it Karat? I apologize if it is, but thank you so much for sending this replay in. This one is going to be a doozy, folks. It's got a little bit of it all. And that's what I'm looking for in these kind of replays. I'm looking for great replays that showcase great play, but also showcase moments where you can learn, potentially. So, with that being said, let's get into this. Now, we're on Two Brothers, and the first thing you're going to notice is this is a PlayStation replay. There's been several people send me PlayStation replays, and I don't discriminate. PlayStation, Xbox, doesn't matter. It's all World of Warships Legends, and that's what we're here for, right? So that's what we're going to do. Now, he's in the Odin, Tier 7 German battleship with 305mm guns? I think it's 305. I think it's the Azuma with 310, because Japanese always have to have bigger guns. Anyway, the Odin is a fantastic ship. I've said it multiple times. One of my favorite German battleships. Tirpitz and Bismarck is one thing, but the battleship that I prefer of the Germans that I've played and had a good time in is Odin. Odin's a fantastic ship. It's got it all. It's got everything you need. It moves well. It's got decent, hard-hitting, accurate guns, and it's got torpedoes and sonar. Not bad. Now, there's going to be some issues in this match. First of all, Toxic's team is going to do a pretty poor job of holding the left side. Okay? So, keep an eye on the map. That's the first lesson in this match. Keep an eye on the map. Because, if you don't, you're going to be in for a bad time. Now, right there, we saw that the destroyer was spotted directly out in front of us. Turns out that that destroyer is a Udachi. So, we have a destroyer who is trying to intercept him, which is always good. You always want to see that. But we also have a bunch of battleships out here. And an Amalfi. Udachi gets... Or wait, was that the Udachi? I didn't see it. I could be wrong. Either way, we have a broadside Amalfi, and this is just begging for a handling. You cannot be caught out in the open, spotted, and expect to live very long in a cruiser. But luckily for him, he gets going just in time. And remember, Amalfi's pretty quick. But he gets going just in time to get forward and have the island protect him. However, Massachusetts comes out full broadside. And you can see Toxic's a little bit hesitant to shoot him. And I don't know why that is. I think it has something to do with he wants that cruiser. Which, fair enough. He wants to get rid of a potential fire-spamming cruiser. But... you got a broadside battleship begging for it, you got to give it to him. Now here is actually one of the first mistakes that we're going to see in this match. Now I'm not calling these mistakes out to be a meanie or anything like that. And I already sent him a message letting him know that I was going to be saying this sort of stuff. These are teaching moments. Now right here he shoots towards the bow of the ship. The ship's still drifting forward, so those shells, the majority of them, go towards the belt armor. The belt armor is the thickest armor on the side of the ship. Unless it is perfectly flat, or very close to it, you're going to struggle to penetrate it. So you want to aim either higher to hit into the upper plating on the side of the ship, or the superstructure, or aim forward and actually get into that bow armor, that bow plating that's usually only 20 to 30 millimeters. Okay? 30 millimeters or 32 millimeters on a battleship is enough to keep you from overmatching it, but at this sort of an angle, he should be able to punch through it. However, he shoots more into the belt armor, and he's getting less damage because of it. So, keep that in mind as you think later in this match, when you see the amount of damage that he ends up with, and how much he could have gotten. Now, here we've got a broadside Iowa. This is absolutely begging for it. But he doesn't quite lead him enough. He hits too far to the rear, and those were a little high. The dispersion, not really his fault, but the shot was a little bit behind the superstructure. You definitely want to try to hit at the waterline if you can, and right around the midpoint of the ship. But It's a quick shot. You don't get the shot for very long, so a clutch shot you come up short sometimes. Happens all the time. Amalfi, though, this is the moment he realized he f***ed up. Because we've got 3 seconds until we have all 6 guns ready to fire. And wait for it. He's down. Nobody thought that was going to end any differently, right? I say 6 guns. This is... I can't remember. Do we have triple barrels? I don't remember. I apologize if I'm wrong. But Iowa is coming out, and he is straight up not caring about the Odin. However, Destroyer is still out there.
Torpedoes to starboard.
And it's moments like these that you wish you had Propulsion Mod installed. Maybe he does. I'm not sure. But moments like that are those moments where you're like, oh crap. If only I'd have gotten moving a little bit sooner. But the Massachusetts going flat broadside is absolutely begging for it, and that dispersion was glorious. 2 Citadels, big chunk off of the Massachusetts there. Rear turret of Justice gives him not very good dispersion, but still ends up with a pretty decent result. No Citadel, but a pretty solid penetration. And now he can't quite shoot him. Now this is going to showcase another one of those moments. Now we know that the Destroyer is still out there, and I do believe it is Udachi. We lost our Destroyer that was trying to kill him, so now this Destroyer has unbridled free range to come after him in his battleship. Now the good news is he is running his sonar, so he's going to get advanced detection of those torpedoes, which is always good, but they are probably going to be Screamer torpedoes, and here they come. So he turns in towards the torpedoes, which is pretty good most of the time, and that's going to allow him to dodge all of these torpedoes. And now he's got a beautiful shot at an Iowa. He aims for the center of the ship, and he gets a pretty solid result. The Iowa was still slightly angled, so that's why he didn't get a Citadel there, but he could have very easily gotten a Citadel with a little better dispersion. However, oh, it's an Akatsuki. It's an Akatsuki, that's what it is. But Akatsuki doesn't have any torpedoes. He just threw all of his torps out there, so Toxic is going to go ahead and punch him in the mouth. Now, notice the map. The enemy team is currently in our base, okay? Or at least getting ready to be in the base. I'm pretty sure they're in the base currently. But they're pushing in. There's at least 2 battleships pushing in. Now, we've got a beautiful shot on this Iowa, so you don't want to give up this potential opportunity. That's a good 14,000 damage. But, even better than that, that takes a huge chunk off of that Iowa, which is also allowing your teammates who are trying to capture the enemy base, that's going to allow them to have a better chance of killing the Iowa. Now, he looks back, and somehow a Bayern manages to end up in a match with Tier 7s. I'm going to assume that he's in a division with the Sinop that's right behind him. I don't know for sure, but that's my assumption. Anyway, instead of going straight back to the base, he realizes that his teammate is actually resetting the cap, which allows him to help his teammates one last time get rid of this Iowa. And sure enough, he manages to finish him off. So that frees up his teammates to be basically able to capture the base uncontested, except there is still a destroyer on that side who has come back to defend the base. So keep that in mind. Now, we are finally going to head back to the base. As you can see, the base is starting to get captured. The diminishing returns of shooting the same people over and over again with the same ship is going to catch up to his team. However, that person did a great job of avoiding being deleted and being able to reset the base, which allows Toxic to come back. Now, Toxic's had a pretty good game already, 133,000 damage, but he's not done yet. He's got a Tier 5 battleship out here that's just begging for it. Now, this isn't the worst Tier 5 battleship to bring into a match. Make no mistake, you need 15-inch guns to go through the bow of that Bayern. We don't have 15-inch guns. We have 305mm guns. You need 380s. But if the Bayern's going to sail broadside, he's going to be taking some damage. Now, Toxic goes ahead and throws his torpedoes, and it's a little early for torpedoes in my mind. In my experience with the Germans and the torpedoes, you generally want to hold them until the last possible moment so that you guarantee the kill rather than giving 1 or 2 hits. And indeed, that's what exactly happens here. The Bayern slows down, he takes only a single torpedo and is able to continue fighting. However, that caused a flood, and that flood appears to be sticking, which is good. That's a huge damage increase. Now, here is the next problem in this particular replay. We get absolutely punished by the Synop because we went broadside to a 16-inch battleship. However, he's also not sure where he should be shooting the Bayern right now, who's bow tanking. He knows he can't go through the bow, and it takes entirely too long for him to decide to shoot the superstructure. In that situation, shoot the superstructure. Always, no matter what's against you, no matter what you're in. If you know you can't go through the bow, shoot that superstructure. It'll save your life, literally. Now here he's got the Synop a pretty decent angle, though the Synop can tank a lot from belt armor. So you saw him actually aim for the bow that time, which was a good move. He got some good penetrations. Didn't get the Citadel, but now we get to see Toxic is going to line him up. Now he's already running his sonar. He has a sneaking suspicion that that destroyer that was last spotted back there actually spotted him before he got into a fight with the Bayern. So he's thinking that the destroyer's coming up behind him. So he runs his sonar to make sure. And he's closing the distance on the Synop. He almost over-angles. You always want to hesitate. Wait for them to fire their guns before you turn to get your torps. You've got great torp angles. You don't have to rush things. And here he waits for the perfect opportunity, launching just before the enemy gets inside that no arming range, which is the very bottom of the torpedo, the orange area you see there. So he makes sure that the torps are going to arm, he takes out the Synop, and survives with 7,000 hit points left. And he's got 218,000 damage done, 3 Citadels, 5 kills with a Kraken unleashed. Alright, I think. Yeah, 5 kills. Kraken. I was like, wait a second. It says he's got 5, but I don't see the Kraken. I see the Kraken in the right side. But yeah, he's got all the medals, he's got all the things, he's got 218,000 damage, which is insane in an Odin. I've seen great games out there in the Odin, don't get me wrong. I've had some fun games in the Odin. But still, 200k in an Odin is solid. Like, that's a great game. And to have 220k plus all the things, plus coming back to defend the base, plus making some decisions, and it wasn't a perfect game, so there's always something to be learned. And that's the best part about these. And that's why I hope that he doesn't get mad at me for calling these out. It's not in any sort of, like, disparaging remarks or anything like that. I'm simply pointing out things that I notice that can help people, like him and others, improve in quick situations like that. Situations like that, seconds or even milliseconds, can mean the difference between you dying or the other guy. As I showcased in my 1v1v1v1 battleship series that we did during the arena, you always want to have the advantage, and forcing people into your advantage is kind of something that you learn over time. And one of those things that you got to learn is when to shoot the superstructure and when to not shoot the superstructure. Personally, if I don't have a shot at this, like if I have a good shot that I know on the side of a ship or the bow armor of a ship that I know I can penetrate, I will not shoot the superstructure on purpose, because the superstructure can become saturated and then your shells are going to do less damage. So when you close the distance, you're not going to be doing enough damage to finish somebody off if their superstructure is already saturated. And it's much harder to pin bow armor, it's much harder to pin belt armor at close range than it is at longer range because of the angle of impact. So, luckily our team manages to finish off the match, killing the Benson. Toxic, again, I appreciate you sending this great video in. I hope a lot of people enjoyed it. It was a very good video. Confederate, Dreadnought, Devastating Strike, High Caliber, Kraken Unleashed. Didn't get to see the base XP, unfortunately, but it was a great game. Thank you again for sending it in. And if you like what we're doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.